We know that the Chinese have secret police stations in the United States.
And Canada. It really was a big deal in Canada.
Yeah, everything's a bigger deal in Canada.
Yeah.
Maple syrup's a bigger deal in Canada.
Yeah.
But and they do that because at the core of the Chinese experience, like we talked about the American experience, at the core of the Chinese experience, you are Chinese first.
That's ideology that we were talking about.
Right. So you have such a close tie to your family and you have such a close tie to the homeland that even if you are a Chinese immigrant, you're still fighting for your family and for the homeland, right? It's still your first loyalty. It doesn't mean it's your first loyalty by like 99-1. It could be 60-40, but it's still your first loyalty. And you are oftentimes responsible for caring for the older generation. So your revenue, your money is actually going back to China to take care of your parents until you can bring them to the United States. So,
which is quite common for immigrants, though.
It is.
Yeah, I don't think it's a specific idiosyncratic to China.
But I think he's juxtaposing it to the U.S. ideology, which is self-first, I would assume.
Correct. In the United States, mom and dad have a retirement fund, and they have Social Security, and they save their own 401k. Right. And if they didn't, well, why the hell didn't you do that, mom and dad?
That's on you. Yeah.
Like now you're draining on me. How does it feel that the grandkids are eating ramen because you can't pay your diabetes bill or whatever it is, right? Like that's a whole different mindset in the United States.
Yeah.
So stuff like secret police stations that are not sanctioned, the incredible amount of Chinese intelligence collection that happens here. In the last week before coming here, we had a military person, a U.S. military officer, U.S. military enlisted person, get arrested for Chinese espionage. We had Google, a technician at Google got arrested for Chinese espionage.
Wow.
Right? So the Chinese are actually actively recruiting from our tech sector and from our military. And that's just in the last 7 days. When you look at the prosecuted cases of Chinese espionage in the United States over the last 5 years, it's record-breaking. More intelligence espionage case arrests, just arrests, than ever before. Every time there's an arrest, our rule of thumb is for every one arrest, there's 9 more operations that haven't been caught yet.
Whoa.
So it gives you an idea of how active the Chinese are against the United States. I don't want to paint the Chinese out to be a bad guy. They're just doing the same shit we do.
This is the game.
But we're the big dog. They're trying to become the big dog.
They're a little meaner dog, though.
They're a very different breed.
What is their offer for espionage? Is it just money?
So the offer for espionage, when we talk about the offer, we have to remember it goes back to those 4, right? Those 4 ideologies or those 4 motivations. Reward, we usually associate with money. But reward is not about money. It's about what you will do with the money, right?
Oh, yeah.
You guys don't work for money. You might think at surface level, of course I work for the money. No. You work for what you're going to do
with the money.
With the money.
Okay.
So what the Chinese have learned about our culture is that in our culture, we all brag about the money and we keep secret what we're going to do with the money. It's really there because I'm worried that my kids might not have enough money for college. It's really there because I'm worried about when I get older and I get sick. It's there because I'm worried about something or something else. So when they make a plea for us or when they make an offer to us for money, oftentimes it's because we're already in debt and we've made bad financial choices because our culture is a debt-driven culture. And we're also worried about money in the future because we're already in debt. So it makes it very easy for them to come in with a monetary salvation.
Wow.
And we're like, oh shit, yeah. I mean, my secrets are worth that much to you?
Yeah.
Because my own government doesn't think they're worth that much to them.
$200K in student loan debt. Even though I work at Google, I still have a lot of debt. I'm worried.
Yeah. And then you've got the whole, the ideology of the United States also includes cultural ideology that doesn't exist in Asia. Like, for example, sex is still a taboo topic in the United States. As open as it's become, it's still a very taboo topic, like the whole sexual deviancy thing I was just telling you guys about, right? We don't really like to talk about what our particular kink is with just anyone. We don't really like to talk about how often we have sex or don't have sex with our spouse or our girlfriend or whatever else. We don't like talking about whether or not we explored homosexuality in college. There's all sorts of stuff that we don't talk about that Europe talks about on the front page of the newspaper, that they'll go out and have drinks and like cheers each other and talk about it.
China way more comfortable with it?
No, but
I
China,
find that hard to believe,
they're not more comfortable with it, but they know we are uncomfortable with it. So they know how to present us with what's known as, in colloquial terms, sexpionage. They can feed our sexual interests because they don't have individual freedom.
It is what I guess the CIA accused Trump of doing with Russia. Like, oh, you got peed on. You don't want anybody to know that. We got you to get peed on. Now we hold this power over you. China will do that to someone in the U.S.
That's the
theoretically.
C in rice. That's coercion. Blackmail is coercion. The other option to that is you get a Chinese girlfriend, a discreet, quiet, beautiful girlfriend that goes where you need her to go, when you need her to go there, and she treats you like a king every time you arrive.
So every couple in Williamsburg is just spies.
I mean, it's not a far off accusation, right?
Yeah.
But you want to know why all those? I mean, there's a real problem with American academics traveling to Asia. And the reason that it's such a problem is because they land in Kuala Lumpur and they have their Chinese girlfriend waiting for them for 4 days that their spouse doesn't even know about. All taken care of by the academic institution that invited them there.
And those girls might not start as operatives. They might just be
Actual
some
mistresses.
hookers or mistresses or whatever, and then they become an asset of an operative, right?
Yep.
This is so interesting. And then you're saying that we can't do it in America because we have individual freedoms. In
You
other
can't
words,
force an American to prostitute their body.
yeah. Now, if they do it, they do it. But we can't say this is what you should do.
Correct. And if they do it, so not only that, but in the United States, we've also gone for our actual trained agents, our trained field operators, we actively enforce that they don't take that step. Because when you take that step
It
into
muddies
any kind of romantic or physical anything,
Yeah.
because of our ideology, in the United States, sex is very difficult to separate from connection.
It's out of our control.
Has anybody ever tried to flip you?
We've all been attempted in different ways.
And how did you know? Could you tell they were an agent?
Yeah, and what were they doing?
Where were you?
So the
Can you say where you were?
yeah, so my time at CIA, I can't talk about that.
Okay.
When I left CIA, one of my first big jobs was in private intelligence.
Okay.
I went to the United Arab Emirates, UAE,
Okay.
to carry on a private intelligence contract there because they were pulling from the Trump school of thought, and they're like, hey, we're going to privatize our intelligence also. And it was a high-paying job in a foreign place. I could take my family and write my own check, right? So
you had to go get intelligence on someone out there? Can you speak on it?
it's an NDA contract. So, but
Got
I
it.
was supporting private intelligence in Abu Dhabi, right? So
Those are our peoples out there. You know what I mean?
And, well, they're our allies, right?
Yeah.
So when you're out there, you're also presented to everybody else who's traveling through Dubai or traveling through Abu Dhabi. So you got the Russians and the Chinese and the North Koreans, the Iranians. All of them can travel through the Middle East, unlike they can in parts of Europe, right? So you have everybody presented to you all the time. So what oftentimes happens is it's not like it is in the movies where somebody walks up to you and they're like, they hand you like a suitcase and they're like, you go and spy for us now, right? It's not quite like that. Instead, they try to build a relationship with you. They try to find out what you do. You know they're a foreigner. You hear the foreign accent. You know they're a foreigner because they have an ID, a national ID in the Emirates that says what your nationality is, right? But you still have to do business with all of them. So you have to work with the Chinese and the Israelis and the Russians. The difference is how do you determine which are doing a job
So how'd you do it?
and which are doing the other job?
Yeah, what gave it away?
Well, it doesn't get given away until they start asking you to have like personal relationships where you keep secrets.
Okay, and give me an example. Like, was there anybody who was really good, and while it was happening, you're like, "Oh, these motherfuckers! This is a new level. I didn't even."
So the Mossad is actually really good at this.
Okay, so tell me.
So when Mossad will work with you.
Mossad is Israeli intelligence.
Israeli foreign collection.
Yep.
Shin Bet
Is their FBI?
is their FBI.
Got it.
So Israeli Mossad they'll work with you, they'll collaborate with you, they'll share with you. Everything's a team fight, and it's always in the workplace until you have a big victory. And then when you have a big victory, then they're like, we should celebrate this at this nice hotel or at this nice bar or whatever else. We've got a connection through the Israeli connections, and now we're going to have like a private room and all this other stuff, and it's going to be this bang-up party. Once, as a trained intelligence officer, once someone takes you from a public setting into a private setting, you know that you're now on what we call a developmental path. They're trying to develop you into.
So you're
An
immediately
asset.
hip to it.
You're immediately red flagged.
Okay.
Right?
Wait, red flag means you red flag them.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Guard is up.
But at the same time, like, there's lots of cultures that just want to party.
Yeah.
So you go to the party, and then you
Israelis
have
like
to
to party.
assess.
Hey, it could go both ways, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, this is good.
So you have to assess then what happens at the party.
So you're at this party.
So now when you're at the party, again, a standard Mossad tactic is you're at the party, and then they'll start pulling you off of the main party to have like these sidebar conversations about work stuff. Like, hey, it was incredible that you found that thing, that you found that deep fake video and you were able to reverse engineer who it came from. How did you do that? Like, can you tell me how you did that? So
This
now
is why it's important that you don't use substances. If you're a little loose with the drinks, you might volunteer that information.
right.
And you've already built a rapport with these people.
Oh, yeah,
You guys
I
just
trust this
celebrated a
guy.
victory. Your teammates.
It's hard enough sober to
Yeah.
not talk.
Yeah. Okay. This,
So you can-
and he's stroking your ego. Look what you did. This is,
And exactly. So you can see yourself going down this what we also call it a slippery slope. If you've ever climbed a tall mountain, of
course.
you get past the tree line, you get into the rocks. It's like a rock scramble. We call that a slippery slope in espionage too. Once you cross that tree line, it's very hard to keep from slipping.
how do you maintain your relationship with them while shutting down their questioning?
There has to be a point with a trained intelligence person where you use a language that they understand to let them know that the development stops there.
Can you say what that is?
Fuck.
Yeah, so you'll have to say something like, I appreciate our work together, but you're getting into a realm that I'm not willing to share with you.
Oh, so you got it.
I thought it would be more subtle. You basically just tell them no.
I mean, that's pretty subtle in our world,
Oh, really?
right? In our world, subtle is I have professional obligations that prevent me from going down this road.
What's not subtle?
Shoot you in
Are
the
you a
fucking
fucking
head.
spy? Are you trying to steal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shlomo, must speak.
Yeah.
Respect that.
Okay. So you had to say that to him, and then does he smile and go, "Ooh, you knew what I was doing"? Is there like a little gamesmanship?
There's some game, not with Mossad. Mossad is business. The Russians, there's gamesmanship because the Russians are thinking this. The Russians are thinking, you say no today.
But tomorrow.
Game on.
And also,
Right.
we've been doing this for decades with the Russians, right? It is a dance.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, I imagine you've also tried to do this with
Others.
And did you do the same tactic? Do you guys have this victory, and then all of a sudden you pull them aside?
No, so the American tactic is very different than a lot of other tactics.
Okay, what's the American?
We are personal right
Meme
out of
share. You just share memes.
all the time. Dick pics.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
So wait, you're personal all the time. What does that mean?
So that means right out of the, so
Can you give us an example
Yeah.
after CIA? You can talk about it.
yes, after
Okay.
CIA I can talk about it. So same private contract in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I needed to bring over a reporting source for my contractor, for my contract holder.
A reporting source means-
means an intelligence source in the private world.
So you need a private intelligence source from another contractor, and you need to bring them over.
From a foreign country.
And they're professional. This is what they do for a living, and you got to break them.
Yes, exactly right. Except oftentimes you're not trying to break anybody
What does that mean?
because you're at our way of doing things, right? The best practice in the United States is that you're not trying to break someone's will. You're not trying to trick them or dupe them. How do we operate? With incentives.
You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Is it fact?
Yeah, only my scratch is better.
Yeah, I got you.
Right?
Now, so they don't even think that they have become a double agent?
They are grasping with that. They are professionals, so they know that's what they're being asked to do.
But at the same time, they're like, I'm getting this information, which my people might like.
Or more importantly, they're thinking, I'm getting this other Benny that my people don't even have to know about.
Wait. Okay, so take us through. Okay, so you got your target.
Yep.
Are there multiple and you lock in on one, or was it always one for the whole time?
So usually what it is you have a target, but the target that you want is not reachable because the target that you want is never going to convert. So you end up pursuing that target to find out who their network of close associates are. So then you can peel off.
It's like trying to get a mob boss, and then you just get the other guy to snitch.
Right. So that's more of how it actually works. And then when you actually find your way to the associate, ideally the associate has the ear of the primary target. So now by influencing the associate, you influence the primary target.
Okay, so tell me how you did it.
So then when you approach the associate is trained, but the associate also has their own challenges because
Can you give me the story? Can you give me the story of how it happened?
I can give you, it's still NDA, but I can give you some of it, right?
Okay.
So I approached my associate.
You guys have a rapport, you're already working together.
Well, I mean, day one, as soon as I know this is the person that I think is going to get me connected to the main target,
Yeah.
I'm not keeping it professional. I am making it personal. Different than Mossad. Mossad wants to keep it professional until there's a reason to make it personal. Our process is different because our process has to fit our culture and what people stereotypically think of.
Okay, so what will you do? What would you?
We got to come over for dinner. Come over for a barbecue. Come meet my kids. Come.
Oh, you'll use your family?
Your whole world is yours, man. It is,
And there's no guilt in that? There's no...
Fear?
there's fear. but you can control the fear, you can control your security, but the guilt part isn't really. This is a foreigner.
Okay, keep going,
Right? So then right away, you're like, hey, let's find a way to bond over something easy and surface level. Basketball, football, golf, women, booze, whatever else. Especially when you're talking to a foreigner, because foreigners have much less, like,
brain.
well, they have less sensitivities than a lot of Americans do because we are a Christian culture, at heart.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to be like, hey, what do you like to do? And they're like, I like to gamble. I like to bet big and lose big. And you're like, well, then let's go do the thing, right? And then when you're there and they lose their ass, then you step in and you're like, man, you got better luck than me because I lost my ass 2 hours ago, so let's put another 500 on you. And then you start to show them that you're a good time. You start to do all the same shit that you were saying earlier. You were like, I like you now, and I trust you now. Like you were just saying
also,
that
if you're bringing them to your wife, to your family, your wife knows what time it is. She's an operative too, so y'all are firing on all cylinders.
Cooking.
Right. So that's how you. And now remember, we're talking about a trained professional on the other side.
Because they know.
So that trained professional on the other side knows who you are, and they know what you did, especially me. When I left CIA, I've been overt ever since I left. So they know I'm formerly trained CIA. So they knew when I was in Abu Dhabi that that's what I was there to do. I was there in an intelligence capacity. I was there supporting a private contract.
How the fuck do you still get them?
Because they want something more. You keep in mind, secrets are a commodity.
What they want something more, meaning it's a personal thing, or they representing their country want something more?
They personal.
They want to gamble. They want drugs. They want women. They have a vice.
They want money because they've been busting their ass their whole life for a government wage. They've got kids that have medical issues that can't be treated in their home country.
And you'll find out all about all those things.
Yeah, because what happens is when you make it personal right away, you break down all those contrived barriers of what we can and can't talk about.
And you just go to your employer and be like, yo, give me X amount of money and we can get whatever you need.
But sorry, real quick. It can't be, hey, here's money straight up.
Right.
They have to trust that you would give them money, no strings attached, right?
It's not even just about money. It's about that you are the solution provider. Right?
So if their kid has an illness. Yeah.
Yep. I don't have to give them money to have them treat their kid's illness. I can make a call to a buddy who's a doctor in Dubai.
Oh, again.
And you just have to take your kids
to what you were saying. It's not about the money. It's about what the money buys.
What it does. So I've heard this with like different operatives where it's like, oh, they found out they're a huge football fan. And they're like, dude, I actually have a jersey, like a Patriots signed jersey. Like you should have it. Or like they'll give them something like that.
Yep.
Hypothetically, let's say you found out someone was a huge fan of stand-up comedy. Let's say they loved Andrew Schultz.
Okay.
Let's say they loved Akash.
Okay.
How could you leverage that into getting what you want?
So if I know they're a big fan, well, first of all, if they're a big fan of your types of comedy,
Yeah, they're good guys.
but I know a lot about them because you guys have a very unique style of comedy.
Sexual deviants.
Big
So
cocks.
right away, they're not going to see Sinbad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that tells us a lot. But then what I can...
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's super important.
Yeah.
What we can do is I can say that I have a client that has front row seats to Andrew's next show, but the client can't make it. So I've got these 3 tickets that are burning a hole in my pocket. Do you want to come? I'll come. And then do you want to bring your wife or do you want me to find like a cute lady to come with us?
Ooh.
Now, would you buy the tickets outright
Yep.
with the money, or would you go to Schultz and be like, yo, can we get some tickets for the thing? Maybe do a meet and greet?
Well, so the reason I wouldn't
Now,
now,
my spy?
from today forward,
That makes me a spy too.
Yes, the reason I wouldn't do that is because now I put a bookmark in his mind.
Yeah.
Why did Andy want 3 free tickets? Right? Why do you want to be comped? If I come to him and I'm like, I want 2 tickets, he might be like, oh, it's for you and your wife. And then he's going to look for me at the show. But instead, it's much easier to just go to the fucking ticket office and buy 3 tickets on a throwaway credit card under somebody else's name. And then boom, I've got 3 tickets. He doesn't know to look for me that day. I can put on some lame disguise so he doesn't even see me. We're good to go. Right? But that's how it would work. To the target?
Yeah, if you asked me tickets, I would need information.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I want to know everything.
Wait, so you got the dude though? You got the information from him?
So where I got is I got the guy to understand that he was selling his information to my clients through the contractor, and that it was a discrete relationship with the contractor, and that I was going to leave. And that's the ultimate goal for us. In the intelligence world, the ultimate goal is to get your target to share its information directly with the institution so that you can exit. That's the ultimate, and that's the game worldwide.